Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to talk about a Tiny Epic Zombies. And this is published by Gameland Games. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out.
That was more Frankenstein than it was zombie, I think.
It was.
But it really isn't Frankenstein just a zombie, but like lots of people.
Frankenstein is the doctor, not the monster.
Isn't Dr. Frankenstein's monster? Jeez, Pinky's up over here.
Yeah, I hated that book. Anyway, let's move on.
All right, you guys, this is Tiny Epic Zombies. This takes place in a mall that is being overrun by zombies. There's a bunch of different entrances, and the zombies are just pouring in all over the place. There's a whole lot of different ways to play this game. There's competitive, there's cooperative, there's competitive or cooperative with like a all versus many kind of like a one person controlling the zombies. There's a solo mode. There's a whole lot of different ways to play this game. So teaching is going to be kind of hard. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of how it looks on the table and what some of the different things that can happen in the game are. All right, here's our setup for Tiny Epic Zombies. Now, this mat does not come with the game, but is available separately. I find it really helps with the setup and just makes everything look a lot cleaner and cooler. All right, so here's our actual mall where we're going to be kind of doing our actions and moving around. Over here, we have a zombie. There's always going to be one zombie. There's a whole bunch in the deck. You're going to choose one of them to work with. They have a special power that's going to kind of mess with you as the game goes on. Up at the top, we have objectives. There are 9 objective cards in the game. We're going to choose 3 of them. They're double-sided, one side for a competitive version, one side for the cooperative version. They might do any number of things. They might say there's kind of a pick up and deliver mechanism where you have to maybe take some parts to rebuild the helicopter. Or maybe perhaps you have to kind of quarantine some infected zombies. Or perhaps you have to stockpile a whole bunch of weapons and ammunition. So whatever it is, there's a whole bunch of different ones in the game. You have to complete all the objectives before you can win the game. We've also got some supply decks. We've got one over here that's going to be where you're going to be able to get some items. This deck over here is also going to be dishing out items. However, the zombie is kind of the one who controls that deck. Basically, what they're going to do is they're going to have a hand of cards, and they're going to choose which one they want to go out into the board. That's going to determine where zombies are going to pop up, as well as how many, as well as what item it's going to be, actually. If you are not having a player play as the zombies, then basically the cards just kind of randomly get distributed out there. All right, so on the board, what you're trying to do is you're trying to run around the board, complete these objectives. You're trying to keep your middle card there from getting overrun. That happens whenever a zombie enters into that middle section of the card. So there's a barricade there, so you're trying to keep that barricade built up. There is a way to kind of build that by, once again, kind of a pick up and deliver mechanism. There's some supplies that you can do. You can go collect those, and then that would help you rebuild your barricade. There are a ton of different spots on the board that can do a lot of different things. That one might say, if you land here, you get to collect some ammunition. Or if you land here, you get to set a trap for a zombie. Or if you land here, you get to gain some health. Or whatever it is. There's a whole bunch of different versions. And again, all these cards are double-sided. On the other side, there are additional different rooms that you could have used instead for a different variety of setups. I'm not sure how well you can see them, but all the way up there in the corner, those are all different items that can be held by the item meeple. So our little item meeple there has kind of holes for hands. They're going to be able to hold those items in their hands, which A, makes them look awesome, and B, reminds you that they have a special power that they can use, which might help them save ammunition, or maybe help them shoot longer distances, or whatever the case might be. Many of your actions, including fighting zombies, is going to include rolling this dice. There are several different sides here. This one says, basically, that's a good thing. You want that one. That one says you not only defeated the zombie, but also you get an extra movement. That symbol means you successfully killed the zombie. I think they all mean that you killed the zombie, but what bad stuff might happen. If you roll that means you're taking a wound, and there's even a double wound side on this roll. So you want to try to roll as few of those wounds as possible. Here is an example of a player card. Basically, every player is going to have their own special actions that's listed on there as well. You started off with a knife and a pistol, so you can do both melee attacks as well as ranged attacks. What happens with the ranged attack is you have to be in the room adjacent to a zombie. You automatically do kill the zombie, as always. However, you lose ammunition. And that can be a bad thing, and I'll tell you why in a minute here. The knife, however, is the same exact thing. Again, you still automatically kill the zombie, except for you have to roll that dice, and you get whatever the result is, maybe some wounds or whatever the case might be. Alright, but you could also upgrade your weapons. For instance, if we wanted to, if we were able to pick up a submachine gun, oh boy, that's awesome. Add some additional effects that we can do. Or we can add an extra melee weapon. There's a katana, so that makes everything a little bit stronger. And then we get to add those little plastic pieces to our meeple, so they look like that, which is awesome. So as we lose health, this is going to go up. As we lose ammunition, this is going to go down. If ever those two things meet on the same spot, that is bad news. That means we were eaten alive. We were not able to manage our resources and our health, and we die. Dying is bad news. For one thing, everybody on the back of their cards has a zombie version of themselves, and now those effects might be happening for the rest of the players. But also, if you're playing like the cooperative version, for instance, there's also basically the amount of lives you have, survivors that you have, and whenever one of the characters dies, you have to take off one of those survivors off the board. You kind of restart, pick a new character, that kind of a thing. But that is one of the losing conditions if you ever lose all the survivors on the board. So because of the many various ways to play the game, there's a lot of different win conditions out there. Basically, if you're a zombie character, you're trying to kill everybody else off. If you are in the cooperative version, you're just trying to collectively, all together, finish all the different objectives on the board. If you're playing the competitive version, same thing. You're trying to survive as well as complete all those objectives.
One of the things that I thought was really innovative with this game was the search deck. I like how it worked for both kind of the time tracker of the game progressing, and if you ever got to the end of that, then, the game was over. But also, that's how you got items in the search deck or in the little, piles at the stores across the board. I just really liked how they incorporated those two items. You don't know what you have until you flip it, and sometimes, events and things happen, but you also want those things to populate the board. So I just really liked how that search deck worked and how it was like a twofold system.
All right, so I'm probably going to say this about every single game we play from the Tiny Epic line, but I just love how they took a really big game concept and just really distilled it down to this, this small box worth of contents. And it's not to say that they took away anything from a game. They made it smaller. It's really, they just kind of miniaturized it as well it is. There's still, this could have been a giant board, just like a normal sized board, but instead they chose to make it cards. So that way, it fits in the box, but also it's customizable. That you can flip them over and put them in a different order each time. So I really love how they just took that big game idea and just made it so portable in this way. And really, all the components of this game were just so fun and just really, really small little zombie meeples that were adorable / scary.
Could do headstands.
It's true. The item meeples that could hold stuff and all the different little items that they can hold were unbelievably cool. There's a couple other ones the Tiny Epic games that have those item meeples. I just love those things. And plus, there's the what am I talking about? Everything just made sense too. It's not like the item meeples just were overpowered or anything like that. Yeah. When you picked up a crossbow, it made sense of how it worked with the ammunition. And when you got a bazooka or whatever, it's not like you just got to blow away everything and everything was.
You had to roll to see if you were damaged. Yeah.
Right. Everything just kind of made sense. Nothing was overpowered. It gave you some tools to help you along the way, but it didn't break the game or anything like that.
Yeah. So this game had a lot of game. A lot of game. Like Ryan said in the introduction, there's just there's a solo mode, there's a cooperative mode, there's one versus many mode, there's a semi-cooperative mode. There's just so much game. And even with just the cooperative mode, what is there? There are 9 different.
There's 9 of the objective cards, and you only use 3 of them at a time.
And they're double-sided.
Right. They have competitive and cooperative sides.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was just so many. I felt like even with the amount of times we played this game, I felt like we were still just playing in the kiddie pool. That we had never jumped into the deep end. Even with all of that there was just so much here to explore.
There's the health and the ammo track that was really the same track, and you had you could use as much ammo as you wanted. You could lose as much health as you wanted. But if those two tracks ever combined, bad news, you get eaten alive. I thought that was a really clever way of kind of managing your resources, and if one or the other got too low, then you had to go quick, do something about it, or else it was game over. So I think that you could use as many bolts as you wanted, but you had to keep that in mind of always in relativity of what the other stat was. So I thought that was a really clever way of doing that.
So the vehicles were fun to put your meeples in and
they looked awesome. Putting this little guy in his motorcycle with a chainsaw or whatever.
I just put them around the vehicle. So I thought that was really fun. I did think that some of the scenarios didn't really play that way. They didn't really play for you to use the vehicles. Really small, not even a thing. but it's a thing.
You can still hop in them and like have fun, but it doesn't necessarily like help you necessarily in each scenario.
It's just fun to put this meeple in a vehicle with a chainsaw, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was, it was just a lot of fun. Overall, I really enjoyed this game. I thought that the cooperative version specifically was a blast. We love cooperative games, and you can kind of scale back or increase the difficulty based off of how much survivors you put in that center part of the mall. I was just super impressed with how much game was in here, how much there was to explore, how much time you could really spend delving into this and just keep on having fun game after game and never having it get stale, which is a big win for me.
Yeah, I just am echoing everything that Ryan said. There was just so much game in it, but sometimes there's a lot of games in boxes and you just don't care because you don't even enjoy the game, so you don't care about exploring it. Betrayal on the House of the Hill. But there's other games that have a lot of game to it, and you kind of just want to get back to it. You kind of just want to explore it more. And I felt like this did that for me. Like, I just want to explore it more. All of those had, like, all the stack of all the characters had a zombie side to them. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many? Do you know how many? I'm putting you on the spot here. I'm sorry.
No idea. 20-some.
Yeah.
It felt like, different characters that can also then be the zombie.
Exactly.
All versus one. So.
Yes, yeah. So I just felt like there was so much, and not just that there was so much, but that I wanted to explore this so much as well.
Yeah, it was a good one. We liked it a lot.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube so you can see our videos as they come out. You can also follow us on Facebook. We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. On Twitter, we are Ryan and Bethany 1. And on Instagram, we are Ryan and Bethany.
All right, guys, stay tuned. We've got more Tiny Epic games, and by the end of the year, we're going to rank them all, so you'll be sure you want to stay tuned for that. All right, guys, we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for sticking around till the end for our Pounds and Inches segment. This is where we talk about what's going on in our health lives, what we're trying to do to be healthier people, both in mind and body. So, in Tiny Epic Zombies, there are zombies, and zombies are dead inside, and that is how I have felt all winter. Oh my gosh, it's been cold, it's been frigid, there's nothing to do outside.
It's like a Dr. Seuss book.
And I've really felt that in my waistline. I've not changed my eating habits whatsoever, but my activity level has gone down to nothing, and that's been really hard. But I took the idea out of the Tiny Epic Zombies playbook, and zombies, what do they like to eat?
Brains.
Zombies eat brains, and if we know one thing about brains is they are keto friendly.
Oh my God.
Low carb.
Ryan's not eating brains.
Brains are low carb, so I am going to try to eat low carb. I started today.
Oh, okay. That's where you're going with it.
That segue was whoop. So I've been starting eating lower carbs today, and already I feel good about it. I'm not perfect by any means. I know there's certain macros and all that stuff that you can try to hit, and I'm not doing any kind of tracking yet. I'm just kind of starting out. So I did that previously, and it worked out really well until I stopped, and then the benefits stopped as well. That's kind of where I'm restarting right now, and and hopefully have some fun with it, and we'll keep you guys posted as it goes on.
Well, thank you so much for staying tuned to the very end. We will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.